open till it shatters through the ocean. I wanna make shockwaves.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs and other farm animals, this is Arinia, and welcome to episode 21 of Kerbal Space Chronicles. Now, I have redesigned Project Denver, and this is Project Denver Mark II. Now, you might realize, if you're in any way familiar with rocketry, that it looks suspiciously like an N1. In fact, that basically is an N1 with a bunch of little rocket parts strapped to the top of it. The N1, I figured it'd be an interesting opportunity to talk about. The N1 was Russia's, or rather the Soviet Union's, attempt at a moon rocket. It would have had these three stages with a couple of other more Russian-looking things stuck on the top of it. I'll have to see if I can get a picture and throw it up right there, maybe, so that you guys can take a look at that. In the meantime, though, we're using our N1 to launch Project Denver Mark II, which the spacecraft itself is only a slightly changed version of the spacecraft that we used on Projects Cleveland, Dallas, and the original Denver. Denver 2 just has some extra scientific gear, and good heavens does this thing burn slowly. I'm going to go ahead and ramp it up here. Let's go to... trying to go to exactly 70, but that's not working for me right now. So let's go to 75. That way we at least get a little more momentum out of this engine. Alright, we're going into 2 times physical time acceleration beyond. The N1 was a remarkable piece of engineering. I mean, it was supposed to have 30 engines in the first stage. In fact, if we go down and look at it from the bottom, because you can't see it in 1 times because all the plumes are together, but in 2 times you can see there are 30 engines firing right now. And I am way behind on my pitch over. Hopefully I don't make it spin out of control. But the N1, the engines that made up the N1 were some of the most efficient in the world. And they actually still are, because what they did was they used something called full flow staged combustion. Basically, they burned some of the fuel in a fuel-rich burn to be able to drive the pumps which drove the engines. And they fed that fuel-rich mixture back into the rest of the rocket. Now there's more to it, and there's an explosion happening and the rocket is spinning out of control. Okay. So let's let this thing hurry up and flip all the way around. And then light the engines, and hopefully we come back under control here, which, as a matter of fact, we do. It's always those staging moments that'll get you. I'm actually going to go ahead and pitch over quite a bit here. No, don't fall, thank you. I'm going to go to 20 degrees. 20 degrees should do it. Go back into 2 times physical time acceleration. So it was a remarkable piece of technology. And I really should do a video in Realism Overhaul sometime talking about the actual N1. Because there were some interesting compromises made in both the design of the rocket and the spacecraft to account for the fact that the Russians just didn't have the same amount of money coming in as the United States space program did. Sergei Korolev had to compete for every single ounce of funding that his program got, with a whole bunch of different agencies. But that's a story for its own video, because it's fascinating. But in the meantime, we are going to go ahead and get this rocket into orbit. I'm going to go ahead and pitch over to 10 degrees and drop back to regular speed, because we are about to have the rocket cross out of the atmosphere. There we go. In fact, let's go to the horizon here. I still have the fairing. I don't know why. Let's go ahead and ditch that. Give us a little bit of extra momentum here. So the N1, it's an interesting piece of technological history that I'd love to get into. But that is not the place for the video. And you guys might be wondering why I'm using a moon rocket to send all of this to Minmus. Well, what I'm hoping is that I can actually return some of this lander from Minmus. I'm not sure if I'll be able to or not, but I'm going to try and see if I can't do something with it. Okay, second stage just burned out. We're going to go ahead and separate. Fire the third stage, which blows up part of the second. Now, it says we're less than a minute from apoapse as we exit the atmosphere. There's about 2.5 minutes of burn in this stage, so I'm hoping that I can get this rocket into orbit before we fall back into the atmosphere. And I actually have science to perform. Some good stuff. So we will get to that in a moment, but what I need to do now, because you notice we are losing power, is extend the solar panels. The engine here does not actually provide power. It does not have an alternator. And I know I don't normally show off launches, but the opportunity to discuss a little bit of the N1 was just something I couldn't pass up. Okay, I think we're about to reach pretty close to orbital velocity, so we should be good. See, our re-entry time is growing again, even though our time to apoapse is dropping pretty quickly. Periapse is now passing through 700 kilometers below the surface, rising fast. Apoapse time is now rising as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop back to regular speed here. Because once periapse reaches the surface, I'm going to go ahead and let the rocket travel around a little before I make the insertion burn. This is going to be a very low orbit. Like, I'm surprised at how low it is. We're entering orbit at just 10 kilometers over the top of the atmosphere. It's interesting stuff. 5, 4, 3, fire. And we got some credits because I was able to upgrade my administration building. Oop, overcooked it just a hair, but I was able to upgrade the administration building and get more capable strategies. I got massive scale launches, and I got the upgraded version of Too Boldly Go. So that will help us when we get out to Minmus. Now, I think we're going to have just enough time for the plane change maneuver before we go ahead and call this an episode. I'm going to go ahead and borrow physical time acceleration to speed up my turn a little here. Alright, we have science to do as well, so actually let's go ahead and do that. Radio plasma wave scan, orbital telescope observations, because the telescope is new. Mass spec. Kraken specimen. Ate 23 Kerbals in the past 15 years. Huh. The head has 2 pairs of tentacles. And it says the same thing again. What do I get off the IR spec? Surface infrared maps of farmlands are taken on behalf of Sean Scannery. Oh, jeez. Well, let's go ahead and keep all of this data and then transmit it through the good antenna. Transmit. And then we can get Science Alert out of our way. And that is, in fact, going to be the end of the episode. So I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and hope you stay tuned for the outro. Hey everyone, Arinia here. Thanks so much for watching this latest video out of my channel, and thanks so much to these patrons who, among others, are helping make this content possible by donating at least $10 on my Patreon page. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell us what we need to do better. If you liked it, still leave a comment. I'm always open to input. If you like the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us on the Discord community, link in the description. If you want to support the channel, and I really hope you do, please, down in the description is a link to the Buy Me a Coffee page, which you can donate to for a one-time donation, or the Patreon page, which you can head on to donate monthly and get perks. In the meantime, this is Arinia saying once again, thanks for watching,